they came to us through their existing partner.
Yep.
And the company is AT&T. Carson and Quinn is sort of a brand of AT&T. And they had scheduled a Good Morning America show that everyone forgot was going to happen, and they didn't have a website ready for it. The show was going to be in 1 month. And
not merely a website, mobile website for tween to 20 some odd year old women, which are a very demanding demographic.
Exactly. So they needed this thing built in essentially less than a month, and tested and ready to go, or else.
And ready to take orders. So what we did is designed a project plan that allowed us to de-risk complications. So we followed multiple paths in terms of around specific potential roadblocks that could happen. We encountered many, right? So the first is ensuring that we have an environment. So the first thing Magento told us is we can't spin up an environment for what did they say?
I believe it was 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks out of a month. So we spun up for the client in a few hours. We spun up a AWS environment, loaded Magento. We did it in the current version of Magento. We designed the site. We had it blueprinted for us, and we took off immediately. What we did is we designed a around-the-clock system in which we had U.S. Magento developers, we had our Eastern Europe developers, Indian developers, and QA based in the Philippines. So basically, we were able to do a full follow-the-sun process in which we were essentially pushing changes continuously, updating the code, and putting together the base Magento, the design, the e-commerce. So we actually had to hook it up twice because the companies had problems getting their accounts set up for us, as well as there were issues hooking it up to a PWA website. Now this is a full PWA website. That means a progressive web app. We built that for Magento, and of course, because that would give us the best experience for the customer. And our customer loved the idea. And what did that customer say to us? We need the next iteration in 30 days. So guess what? Everybody gets to work for another month around the clock. And in that case, what we did is we hooked up the back end, right? ERP system, managing photos, being able to handle, all the things that you need to do inside of an e-commerce system in a fully integrated manner that, any enterprise company is going to look for. ERP providing pricing, inventory, middleware with photos and all the rest.
All of those capabilities. So yeah, the initial 1 month was we've got to have something up live that looks exceptional and works,
takes credit cards
and works on all systems and takes credit cards. The second phase was now we needed to be fully functional. Each of those were on a tight deadline.
Yeah.
And it's really our around-the-clock capabilities, having organized our teams in a way where they can hand off code from one location to the next, and where they can test iteratively as they're building, rather than build it all the way through and test on the tail end.
Yeah.
And then the things that Rob mentioned initially, which are really key to all of this, which is this ability that we have to look at where are the potential hiccups going to be in this, what are the risks, and then doubling down on those, right? And the customer was well aware that we were going to put multiple teams on programming similar functionality so that if one failed, the other one would be there and it would be done in time.
Well, and
that's the only way you can do it on a timeline like that.
And we had one fail, right? Because we couldn't because the customer couldn't get an account on one of the credit card things fast enough, which is the one they wanted. So we put in one and had been programming ready all the time. And then in that second month, we actually came back and replaced it, right? Because that's what they want. But when we say 30 days,
we deliver in
30 days. Not easy. But look, what it does is it demonstrates discipline. It demonstrates our project management capability as well as the technical capability and just how great the team is, right?
Yeah.
This was really about the team going above and beyond, because it's one thing to do around the clock and it's another thing to basically require overlap for communication, continuously handing off project, checking in, checking out a Git, and working through every single problem and then communicating to that next team. Here's where you got to pick up and here's what you got to do. Right, so Carson and Quinn got a good launch. It was part of a very major push from AT&T, and every executive, which is our customer's customer, by the way, right? So every one of them were exceedingly pleased, and we are too. It's a great showpiece of what we can do.